Hello, hello. My name is Sharp Eyes,
And I am Crucifix.
and together we are
WeCast.
where you play and
WeCast.
absolutely. All right. Tonight we're gonna be looking at a replay here by the ever so amazing Crucifix.
I heard he is just a huge player right now, basically just dominating the gold scene.
Very dominating this metagame over here. I mean,
Sure.
always making those SCVs.
Yeah, no big deal. No, well, sometimes he forgets, but that's okay. Everybody does. So, anyways, in the top right corner, yours truly, as the Red Terran, it is me, Crucifix.
All right, and in the bottom left-hand corner will be the blue Protoss. His name is Mentalier.
Mentalier.
It could be French actually.
Could be. It looks like we just have some probe mining and some SCV mining. That's to be expected, as that's kind of how the game works. So I'm glad to see that from both players. It is a choice. They could select all of their probes or SCVs and pull them to the center of the map and do nothing with them. That's what they could do, but they choose not to, and that means they are good players.
Absolutely. Judging by the decal here from the Terran player, it looks like Crucifix likes the whip.
He does like the whip, indeed. He likes the whip, and he likes his trucker portrait because he likes to whip truckers. So
sounds
it sounds kinky. Who doesn't like it? So, it's looking like we do have the Terran player pulling back to his mineral patch after building his first supply depot, choosing not to build that barracks on 12. Looks like we might even see a CC first build coming out of Crucifix.
very interesting build, Crucifix. I mean, who does go CC first these days?
A lot of people, actually. But I don't know if they do it so much on this map because it's quite easy to scout, and I could probably get punished for it. But I can tell you with all confidence that I don't think that's going to happen.
And it looks like a command center will be going down for Crucifix.
I like how he's building it in base here so he can get a nice wall off going.
And Crucifix is taunting his opponent. If you'd like, I can leave if I win.
No, that was true. No, I was nice because he was ranked and I was unranked. But I actually forgot to do that. So
poor guy.
Turns out, I guess I was trolling a little bit.
And he says, "Oh, no problem. Only if you feel like it." What a nice French fellow.
He is one of the few French gamers out there that aren't just complete terrible people. Just kidding.
I'm not sure if that was necessary.
Yeah, it's not. I was just kidding, so nobody get mad at me. It's looking like we do have there's a few probes queued up here to use all those precious minerals for future endeavors, making sure he's not going to foolishly use those minerals for anything other than probes. And we do have several pylons going down here, and a photon cannon at the main to prevent any early drop play from the Protoss.
Very interesting. That the Protoss would actually build a cannon this early, but I guess he's pretty scared.
Yeah, I mean, you can't even get a medevac out until about 5 minutes and 30 seconds, but maybe he's worried about... I really don't know. There's really no reason to build a cannon that early, but if he did get cheesed, I guess he could pull his probes out towards that cannon, and it would be a good point of defense from any marine cheese.
The Protoss here is actually using a very interesting build. He delayed his cybernetics core heavily just so that he can build those pylons and that forge.
And he built 2 cannons here. He is very scared of cheese, it's looking like. He built 2 cannons before building his second gateway. And now the cybernetics core finally does go down. We'll see if that warp gate research starts anytime soon here. Meanwhile, 2 more gateways on the way. It's looking like we are going to see some sort of one-base play here from the Protoss.
And it actually seems like he does not research warp gates right away, which is a very interesting move. He probably just forgot to do the research.
Most likely. We do have him almost having 23 probes now on his main base, so completely saturated. He does finally get that warp gate research underway. Meanwhile, the third gateway does come in for him, so we'll see what kind of units he starts building.
All right.
Meanwhile, over in the Terran base, Sharp Eyes, what do you think's going on over here?
It looks like a Crucifix will be doing some stuff here as he tosses up some barracks and a starport. So I'm guessing a drop play.
Well, it's looking more to me like he is going to move out and put his command center down into his natural position now that he has 24 SCVs on his main base. I think what's more likely than drop play, I think he is just trying to get some fast medevacs out with a good number of Marines and hoping for a nice timing push into the Protoss player.
Interesting indeed, as we actually do see that the Protoss player over here is doing some kind of 4-gate 1-base aggression, but
indeed, I think this may be the slowest 4-gate in human history. But he really didn't want any scouting to be going on. That's what these cannons were for sure. And now that he has his 4 gates out, meanwhile, the worst scan ever goes down from the Terran player, only catching one of those gates and a couple pylons, so the Terran player really has no idea that a 4-gate's about to happen.
Very interesting. The ComSat actually did not reveal much.
No, it did not. I think it's looking like the Protoss player is probably going to move across the map once he gets a big enough force. But really, his army right now is extremely small for how long he's been on one base. He is building 3 photon cannons at one time here to defend his up and coming natural. Meanwhile, the Terran player already has quite a strong economy going.
Very strong indeed, as he has a little oversaturated at his main here, but it's not too big of it.
It's only 1 SCV. I don't think it really matters that much.
You would be surprised.
But a lot of times what I'll do is I'll keep, because what you can do is once you get 16 SCVs on your main, you can rally the rest of your SCVs down to your natural, so that every time you build one, it'll go there instead, because you would already potentially be saturated on your main base. But what I sometimes like to do is keep the rally point at my main, and then use my main SCVs to build, and that way I'm always having extra SCVs at my main that I can use to build, because if I only have 16 at my main, then whenever I try to build anything, I'm automatically going to be undersaturated. But right now it is looking like I am quite oversaturated on my main and undersaturated on my natural. So I could definitely use a nice probe transfer. But meanwhile, I will be building up my army here, one Marine at a time.
1 Marine at a time is actually a misnomer, as you have more than 1 barracks at a time. So
that's true.
Looking like 4 Marines at a time.
Going over to the production tab, let's see what both players are making. It's looking like out of the Protoss player, we have a forge, a pylon, and 1 probe. And then out of the and it does look like shields level 1 is going to go down. Meanwhile, the Terran player is going to build medevac, a tank, 4 Marines, +1/+1, and 2 SCVs. So, and a Twilight Council going down for the Protoss players. So maybe we may see DTs or Blink Stalker coming in at some point. Maybe just High Templar.
Absolutely. High Templar are very crucial in the PvT matchup. If the Protoss player doesn't get any Colossi or High Templar, it might be that the Terran player can just rape the Protoss player with his units.
Honestly, without Colossi or High Templar against stemmed Marine Marauders with medevacs, especially if they have tanks in the back, it's hard to do anything, because against a Zealot Stalker composition, the best you can do is the stim is so powerful that you really need those Colossi to back your army up, and that Storm to do that AoE damage, because otherwise you're just at a distinct disadvantage unless you have overwhelming numbers or a distinct upgrade advantage.
Definitely, definitely. It actually does look like both players are playing extremely passively. I mean, you really can't get any more passive than this.
That's true. They are like, not only has neither player scouted each other almost the entire game except for that single terrible scan. It's looking like the Terran player is actually going to wait to max out before pushing out. But if you look at the supply, though, the Protoss player is extremely slow when it comes to building his units. It's 101 supply to 166 right now, with a distinct advantage for the Terran player. It's looking like the Terran player is actually doing a pretty good job keeping his mineral count nice and low, building as many Marines and units as he possibly can.
Absolutely, and it does look like a third is going down here, but will that be an orbital or will that be a planetary?
I'm actually not sure. I can't remember. Meanwhile, it is good to note that the Terran player will most likely be maxed at about 15 minutes and 30 seconds, which is a nice timing to be maxed. It's nice and early, and if you can push at your opponent soon after that time period with a big army, you can sometimes catch them with a significantly smaller army than your own.
Absolutely, and it will be looking like a macro war between the two players here, with players choosing to be extremely passive and then just going at each other. Battle Royale.
Indeed, it does look like we have all three bases now saturated, with the third not going to be a planetary or an orbital at all anytime soon. And we do have the Terran player pushing out on the map, with the Protoss player sitting in the middle of the map here, probably going to take his third when he has the minerals for it, which he does about 4 times over. And it's looking like this could be an engagement. One medevac does go down, but I think the Terran player might have just a bigger army overall. Does push in here. The Protoss player is going to take the engagement here on this lip, but I just think the Terran player has far too many units.
It is looking like 180 supply to 77. Not looking good at all for the Protoss player.
And the Terran player could probably just march right on in here. These 5 photon cannons I don't think are going to do the trick, but who knows, they could be the best photon cannons in the world. Another 3-4 going down. The Protoss player is really depending on these photon, and there the Zealots. Another warping tries to happen. Photon cannons go down almost instantaneously. It's looking like this is going to be GG right here, and really gets right in there in the natural. Shoves his army right in there, and says, "Sorry, Sleepy, GG."
That's a very interesting match, actually. I mean, it actually looks like the Protoss player expected to win with pure gateway units, which is absolutely ridiculous versus Terran.
It is. Gateway units are actually, by themselves, are very bad versus Terran, especially when the Terran player has stim and combat shields.
Definitely. And did you have upgrades to that game?
I had 1-1, and I believe, well, the Terran player doesn't have a unit on the map right now, but I believe, it looks like the Terran player had 2 armor and 1 shield, but no attack.
Alright, and that concludes the game. My name is Sharp Eyes.
And I am Crussifix.
And we are signing off.